Hi guys, in today's video we'll be going through the solutions to quadratic equations using the factorization method. Okay, given the question x squared minus 9x plus 18 equals to 0, how do we solve this? Firstly, we go about by drawing the factorization table. And you have to fill up 3 terms at the bottom. So where do we get these 3 terms? We get it from the question itself, which is x squared, negative 9x, and positive 18. Now x squared will be the one on the left hand side, followed by positive 18 and negative 9x on the right hand side. For the next step, what we're going to do is to find two terms that when they multiply by each other, you get x squared. And you can put it as x times x, where we get x squared. And for 18, you can put it as negative 6 times negative 3. Now, for the next step, what we're going to do is to cross multiply diagonally, and we will get x times negative 6, we get negative 6x, and x times negative 3, we get negative 3x. Next, we check whether the right hand side, when we add them up together, we get negative 9x. So in this case, negative 6x plus negative 3, we get negative 9x. Therefore, for all three of these terms, it is correct. As x times x, we get x squared, negative 6 times negative 3, we get positive 18, and negative 6x plus 3, negative 3x, we get negative 9. Now, how do we write the answer? The answer is written in this way, where the terms on the left are equal to x minus 6 bracket x minus 3 equals to 0. Now we have a factorized form of the equation. And to solve this equation, to find the value of x, where there will be two values of x, we can equate x minus 6 equals to 0, and therefore x equals to 6. And for the next equation, x minus 3 equals to 0, and therefore x equals to 3. So for a quadratic equation, as we have two answers, the answers for x in this question will be 3 and 6. Let's go on to the next question. Okay, for the next question, given the question of x squared plus 5x plus 4 equals to 0. So we do it in the same way. For the first step, we draw the factorization table and we fill up the three terms that we have in the question. Remembering the first term goes to the left hand side, the third term goes to the middle, so it's positive 4, and the middle term 5x goes to the right hand side. Now, what we can do is to find out two terms multiplied by each other to obtain the values at the bottom on the left hand side, and two terms when they add together, we get the term on the right hand side. So firstly we do for x squared. X times x is x squared, and to obtain 4, there are multiple ways we can get 4. Firstly, we can have 1 times 4, we can have 2 times 2, and both of these will be equal to 4. So let's try out 1 and 4, positive 1 and positive 4, and we cross multiply it. X times 1, we get x, and x times 4, we get 4x. Now we check our answers, whether they are equal to the ones at the bottom. Firstly, x times x will get x squared. So for the first term is correct. For the second term, 1 times 1 equals to 4, which is correct. And for the last one, x plus 4x, and we will get positive 5x. So therefore, when all the terms are satisfied, we write the answer in the brackets in this way, which will be x plus 1 and x plus 4 equals to 0. Therefore, we will be able to get the factorized form of this equation, and to solve for the answer, we can equate x plus 1 equals to 0 and x plus 4 equals to 0. So for the equation on the left hand side, when x plus 1 equals to 0, x equals to negative 1, and for the right hand side, x equals to negative 4. So for this question, the answer that we will obtain would be x equals to negative 1 and negative 4. Let's go on to the next question. Okay, given the question n squared minus 64 equals to 0, how do we go about solving this question? So firstly, we can see that this term represents a squared minus b squared, which we know will give us a plus b, a minus b. So n squared minus 64 can be rewritten as n squared minus 8 squared equals to 0. Now, using the formula that we know of, we can rewrite it in n plus 8 and n minus 8 equals to 0. So we have obtained the factorized form of this equation, and we can go on to solve for n. So for the first equation, we can write it as n plus 8 equals to 0, and for the second equation, we can write n minus 8 equals to 0. And to solve for n, on the left hand side, we'll get n equals to negative 8 and n equals to positive 8 on the right hand side. So in this question, we get n to be positive 8 and negative 8. Let's go on to the next question. Given the question b squared plus 5b equals to 0, how do we go about solving this? Firstly, we have to factorize. As we can see that there is only two terms in this question and both of them have the common factor of b, we can factorize b out, where we obtain b plus 5 equals to 0. And as there are no more common factors between the terms, this is our factorized form. And to solve for b, same as the rest, we equate b equals to 0 and b plus 5 equals to 0. So the first equation that we get will be b equal to 0, and for the second equation, b plus 5 equals to 0. Now on the left hand side, we have obtained b, and on the right hand side, we get b equals to negative 5. So in this question, we have b to be equal to 0 and negative 5. Let's go on to the next question. Okay, for 35, n squared plus 22n plus 3 equals to 0. Okay, in this question, we can see that there are three terms, so we have to use the factorization table. So we draw it out first and fill in the three terms that we have in the question into the bottom row. Firstly, we have 35n squared, then we have positive 3, and we have 22n. So for the first term, 35n squared, we can use 7n times 5n to get 35n, or 35n times n, we get 35n squared. So usually the terms that we'll use are mostly whole numbers. So let's try the first one. So let's write 7n times 5n, and when we times it together, we get 35n squared. Now let's try for 3. What times 3, what times, which two numbers times together would give us 3? So the different possibilities are 1 times 3, where we get 3, and 3 times 1, where we get 3. So let's try the first one. So let's try 1 times 3, positive 1 times positive 3. Then we cross multiply. So 5n times 1, we get 5n, and 5 and 7n times 3, we get 21n. Now, when we plus the two terms on the right together, we will obtain 26n, which is not equal to 22n. So therefore, we can observe that the two terms that we have on the left hand side might be wrong. Now let's change the placement of this. Now let's put 3 at the top and 1 at the bottom. So 5n times 3, we get 15n, and 7n times 1, we will get 7n. Now when we plus the two terms we have, 15n plus 7n, we will obtain 22n. So therefore, all the terms are satisfied. And to write our answers, we will just put it as 7n plus 3 and 5n plus 1 equals to 0. Now, this is the factorized form of this equation. And to solve for the n value, we can equate them. Firstly, we can write 7n plus 3 equals to 0, and 5n plus 1 equals to 0. So 7n plus 3 equals to 0, and 5n plus 1 equals to 0. So for the first one, 7n equals to negative 3, and n equals to negative 3 over 7, which equals to negative 3 over 7. And for the second equation, 5n equals to negative 1, and therefore n equals to negative 1 over 5. So we have the two answers for n, and therefore the values of n can be negative 1 over 5 and negative 3 over 7. Let's go on to the next question. 15b squared plus 4b minus 4 equals to 0. Okay. As we see, there are three terms in this question. We have to draw the factorization table and fill in the three terms that we have in the question at the rows in the bottom. So firstly, we have 15b squared as the first term, followed by negative 4 in the center, and 4b on the right hand side. So to get 15b squared, we can take b times 15b, which is 15b squared. Next, we can use 3b times 5b equals to 15b squared, or we can also use 15b times b equals to 15b squared. Let's try out the first. Let's try out the first one. Firstly, we put b times 15b. We get 15b squared. Next, we have to find two terms that when multiplied together will give us negative 4. So in this case, we can have negative 1 times 4 equals to negative 4. Negative 2 times 2 equals to negative 4. And negative 4 times 1 equals to negative 4. So let's try the first one. Okay, let's put it as negative 1 and positive 4. And when it's multiplied together, we get negative 4. The next step would be to multiply it diagonally. So 15b times negative 1, we get negative 15b. and b times positive 4, we get positive 4b. And when we add them up together, we get negative 11b, which is not satisfied as we did not get 4b. So there's something on the left hand side that we need to change in this case. Let's try using 5b and b. 5b and 3b. So let's put it in 5b and 3b. For the first term, to get positive 15b squared when multiplied together. And for the second term, we can put it as negative 2 times positive 2. Then we cross multiply them together. Negative 2 times b, we get negative 6b, and 15b times 2, we get 10b. And when we add them up together, we get 4b as the answer, and it satisfies the term that we need. So therefore, when all the terms are satisfied, we'll be able to write our answer as 5b minus 2 and 3b plus 2 equals to 0. So this is a factorized form for this equation. And to solve for the value of b, you can get two equations, which is 5b minus 2 equal to 0 and 3b plus 2 equal to 0. And to solve for this, you just bring the numbers over. 5b equal to positive 2 and b would be equal to 2 over 5. And for the second equation, 3b equals to negative 2 and b would be equal to negative 2 over 3. And therefore, we have completed this question, and the values of b would be 2 over 5 and negative 2 over 3. I hope this clarifies the method on using factorization to complete a quadratic equation or to solve for a quadratic equation. Thanks for watching.